So we've just seen that to add an endpoint, we provide a class that extends the endpoint base class, override a method called onOpen, and then provide an endpoint configuration that configures all the endpoints inside the application. But there is an easier way using Java annotations. So to do that, let's add a new class. Let's call this echo endpoint configuration. So I do new Java class. It's going to be in the Pluralsight package. It's called echo endpoint annotation. And on this class, rather than extending a base class, we simply add some annotations. So the first annotation we add is to the class itself, and this annotation is called server endpoint. And for this annotation, we specify the name of the endpoint. This is going to be the URL the browser will connect to. And in this case, just to distinguish it from the original class, we'll add echo A as the endpoint. The code inside the endpoint class is more or less the same. So I can grab the code from here, the original class, and I just copy that, paste it into the endpoint annotation. The only difference is that now, instead of overriding a base class method, we need to annotate the open method to tell the configurator that this is the method to call when opening the socket. And the annotation for that is simply onOpen. Once we have that, we need to make sure of two more things. In the JavaScript code, we need to make sure our endpoint has been changed to be echo A. We also need to make sure of the configuration. I said previously that if we have no annotated endpoint classes, then we don't return any configuration here. But we have to be careful. If we have a configuration class, then the Java server will look at this class to get a list of all our annotated endpoints. If we return null from here or an empty set, then the configurator will assume that we have no annotated endpoints. So we need to do one of two things. We either need to add into this the set of annotated endpoints we'd like to return, or we simply get rid of this entire class. In this case, let's just get rid of the class. So if I just comment this out, and then finally I'll make one more change. In here, just to show that we're sending back the message from the annotated class, we'll add some extra text to this. So let's just say annotated, and then on the client we'll see this extra text just to show we're going to this annotated endpoint, not to the original endpoint. I can now restart the application server, and then if I switch to Chrome and bring up the dev tools to show there's nothing amiss, refresh the page, we open the connection to the socket inside the application. I can type hello. If I hit return, we see here we get hello from the annotated class.